is going to revolve around that. And I personally feel that, independence is very dear to all of us. But most of us, most of the times, fail to understand that we need a strong constitution so that we can enjoy the independence that we have. And when I say constitution, it's not something that only a nation can have. Constitution is something which can even strengthen organizations. And today, what we are going to hear and try and understand from the three dignitaries that we have is what is it? What is that magic that the forces have in their constitution, in the way that they operate? That people who come to these forces may belong to different caste, different socioeconomic classes, different kind of backgrounds, but when they enter the force, they are completely remolded and they are into a new person who is then all his or her life a total Fauji. So we're going to understand and take their help to decode this huge secret. And for that, we have today three amazing dignitaries with us. And I would go with the law which says that ladies first, and you'll have to excuse me, Brigadier Sir, for that. So let me start with Dimple. And she's squadron leader Dimple Rawat. I may not even say she's Dimple. So she's squadron leader Dimple Rawat. She has been into the forces, categorically into Indian Air Force for 11 years. And she has been posted at all beautiful places. Now I'll tell you why I say beautiful. All beautiful places: Sirsa, Ambala, Jodhpur, Jaisalmer. And when she told me that I have been posted to all these places, I told her that, yeah, you are India's daughter. And she said, no, I'm not India's daughter. You didn't probably realize that all these places, Sirsa, Ambala, Jodhpur, Jaisalmer, if you look at the map of the India, they are all places so close to our dearest enemy, that's Pakistan. And it struck to me that, oh my God, this girl has been so close to our enemy all during her tenure of 11 years. Amazing, Dimple. We are so pleased to have you here. Apart from that, she's also an avid reader into the HR background and has been amazingly inclined towards women empowerment. Not just inclined, but she has done a lot of good stuff, has amazing accolades. She has just won today. And that's what Dimple is all about. The second person we have is Lieutenant Nandini Koduri. So I had to really practice how do I speak up her second name because I didn't really want to goof that up. She comes from a background in Navy and she has been into some really prestigious and instrumental projects with Navy for 7 huge years. She has been to places like INS Hamda, INS Chilka, and of course the Naval Pay Office Mumbai, where she has taken care of a lot of projects around and being instrumental in devising those projects. And when I talk about Nandini, let me tell you, it's not just her, that she is one of those people belonging to the forces. Her entire family, her husband belongs to army, her father-in-law belongs to army. So here comes a generation who has forces in their genes. We are so pleased to have you, Nandini. And last but not the least, we have Brigadier Jayant Tiwari. He is obviously from army and he has moved across the length and breadth of the company. And he is somebody who has close to four decades of experience in the Indian Army. And that's huge. I mean, we can't even imagine what this man must be carrying as experience after spending close to 4 decades in Army. And today in this world where we all know that awards are bought, he is a man who has earned an award, and not just earned any award, he has earned an award which is Shaurya Chakra, the second highest rank that an officer can get. And that is something which is so important. I think he deserves a huge round of applause for that. And these are the three guests that we have. And before we start or we get into the question answer session, let me say that we with a huge and a heartfelt, we want to say a huge and a heartfelt thank you to all of you for all your veterans for the services that you have brought to us and to our country. Thank you so much. And this thank you is not just from me, it's from the entire HR Milestone family. So I'm going to ask a question and I would want to start with, let's say Dimple. So my question is for all three of you, but I would want to start with you, Dimple. The first question I want to ask is, how was your experience when you went into the training academy?
Okay, so first of all, Meghavi, thank you so much for such a wonderful introduction you have given. And it's my pleasure and honor to be here at HR Milestone. I really love this platform. I am part of this platform. And also, it's a pleasure sharing the stage with the legend of, our Defense Forces, Jayant sir. This is the second time I'm sharing stage with him and my dear friend Nandini. Thank you so much. I'll call him Haresh only because he told me not to call Dr. Haresh. So for this opportunity. Now coming to your question, how was my experience in the training academy? So I have to go back, I was commissioned in 98. So I have to go back 22, 23 years back. And it was totally different kind of experience. It was a new experience. Obviously, I was very young. And it was a transformation, at the mental level as well as at the physical level. So when I tell it that I call it as a transformation, the training of defense forces is very comprehensive, very complete. So the main focuses, are making you as a good leader. One. Second, they want to make you physically so fit that you can actually go and work in any terrain, starting with your glaciers or difficult desert, anywhere you can work. And the third, main aim of this training is to make you professionally very strong. That is your competency, whatever competencies or whatever branch you have joined. So I joined as an engineer there. So obviously the training was revolving around that. So this is the first part. Now coming to making how they make you physically so fit. So before joining Defense Forces, I think I have not walked more than 3 kilometers at a stretch. So my first outpass, we were around 26, 27 officers and batchmates. We used to call each other brother officer and sister officer. We got our first outpass when we completed 10 kilometers. So you can imagine the kind of transformation, we went through. So the day used to start early in the morning. So 4 o'clock, we all used to get up. 4:30 used to be PT. Then you come back. Then, you immediately just have your breakfast and then again go for parade. And then there used to be classes. So 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, 5:30, the classes used to be there. And, the interesting memories of those classes for me is that if you are caught sleeping in the class, then there was a punishment. We used to have rifles there, of course, without arms and ammunition. So you need to pick up one rifle, hold it, and, over your head and run, take the rounds, at least 4 or 5, till the time you are fully awake and you're back in the class. So this kind of training, very tough training we used to have, but we used to enjoy it, later part. And also I want to just, tell everyone here, the training is also, around the team spirit. So when the batch is there, you're not allowed to move alone. So you have to walk in squads, or you have to, like all 26 of us used to walk together, used to go to classes together. And I remember one incident, and this incident is, I have told in some other platform also, but it is very important how you pick up team building as a part of your curriculum, or this becomes, this you take it everywhere together with you. So this was, I had misplaced my raincoat and it was raining outside. So all other brother officers and sister officers, they were in raincoat.
You are on mute, Dimple.
So now it's okay? Yeah. So, because I didn't have raincoat, so everybody got delayed. We were late in the class. And then the instructor, who was also in uniform, of course, so he actually scolded us, and then he scolded the seniors also, that what kind of training you are giving to these officers. They cannot come to the classroom without raincoat. So how will they operate if there is enemy in front of them? They will wait for rain to neutralize, or then you wait for the raincoat and then they will go and fight with the enemy. So whole of the batch was given a punishment because nobody took my name. They asked, who was this person because of whom you all got delayed? True. Nobody took my name. And then we all were given the punishment. I told them that it was because of my mistake. Everybody got delayed to the class, but we all ran together in the parade ground till the time the rain was over. So this is one of the experience, very good experience I recall, and I just wanted to share here. So thank you so much, Meghavi.
That's actually the differentiator, where we see in corporates, people are so keen on leg pulling and politics and all of that. Here is a bunch of people who are ready to take the entire punishment on them in spite of not being guilty. I think that's a huge differentiator. So let's go to Brigadier here. What has been your experience, sir? With our training days, I know that's going back all the way to 4 decades.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, Meghavi, and good evening, everyone. Well, it's a long story, and we probably become very nostalgic. I've just entered my 62nd year, and it's a great day for me. And you are asking me to get back when I was 19 years. So it's so wonderful. So thank you, Meghavi, for getting me back to my younger part of the younger generation, mood in that moment. Okay, a point is that, when we join, I personally feel that, yes, this is a question we have never asked ourselves. At least I have not asked. It's good that you have given me a chance to rediscover myself as to what was the mental status and how we went about it. I think it just happened. I was in graduation and I cleared CDS and wanted to read something else, study, and then you got through this exam and we went. Of course, there was some alignment of getting into the forces. My father was also in army, maybe somewhere like that. We joined, and when you join academy, there is always a thought, whichever field you want to get into that. There is something, that's why you have gone. Well, when you enter there from a college, and in college I used to be in university, cricket team, I had this long hair, all sorts of things. Suddenly you have to cut it off and you suddenly go there. And you reach there, your own, some college types and all people have already gone there. You only think. I remember when we reached late in the afternoon, the academy or places where I was supposed to be, they had actually finished their tea break, games and tea break. And suddenly I saw a guy familiar to me. So I had done my graduation from Punjab. So there was a Sikh gentleman and I looked at, and he also looked at me. He said, Jayan? I said, yeah, because, Jayan had a lot of long hair and all. And he called me, we hugged each other and I felt so great about it. And he, I think I didn't know. He called for tea, biscuits and all. We had it and I felt very happy. Anyway, so the people went out the places. And after that, I was shown my cabin. And what happened? People only, throughout the night, I was transformed in that one stroke only, which generally we all cadets get transformed. You say, okay, settle down. And after that, you get transformed. By the time with the sunrise, I think the transformation takes place. Okay, I think it's enough that. But I define it that it's the most pleasurable moment of life, I suppose. Okay, and people only one question was, various questions were there. And, who are you? I'll say Jayan Tiwari. And then, some very pleasant way they explain you that nonsense, this is not the way you are. You are a gentleman cadet or something like that. You forget your name, you become a gentleman cadet. Okay. And then he said, okay, you wanted to become Pali. Who is he? And that cadet whom I had hugged, he was the academy's #1 appointment at that day. Oh. Okay. He was 1 year senior to me. And actually he was a boss of the cadets. So, and the guys who were actually offering me tea, they were my immediate seniors who was going to rag me actually in the night. So they were offering me tea and biscuits. So you could imagine I had a very quick transformation to military life that way. So I think sooner the better. But what happens that we have this thing, it just transforms. And those, sufferings or diversities or, vulnerabilities, what do you call it? Suddenly changing into a very pleasant way. And that is the transformation which we are saying. When a group of people are there, everyone is in the same state. You suddenly become good friends, okay? And suddenly looking after everyone. After, we have a good, what they call it, some parade in the night, okay? And then we go back maybe at 12 in the night or 1 o'clock in the night. You get back to the cabins of each other and, crib and enjoy that, what happened. So, that vulnerability or the difficult times, you start enjoying that. And the enjoyment comes through the camaraderie suddenly build up and the togetherness and team. And it is an offshoot of the culture which actually terminates into the entire training period. So training period is you actually start seeing that there is a human spirit has a lot of defiance to anything which comes up. And there is nothing known as, you can't do it. There is no word of that nature. It is only the challenges. And if you are wanting to, do something well, then you need to create a challenge for yourself. So I think the definition of everything changes. And it is not your name. It becomes your team's name, your platoon name or something like that. You start living. And you really realize, of course, I've been from a combat arm. So during various stages of training, you realize that there is no limit to physical or mental domains. It is endless, unfathomable. So that is how it is. It has been a wonderful, of course, journey. And, at the time of culmination of training, a great phenomena, you suddenly feel that you have become an officer and you start enjoying. But I had written a demi-official letter to the unit where I had got commissioned, like my Gorkha Rifles unit. I was commissioned to Gorkha Rifles. And I got a reply. And why I'm wanting to make one point into that the reply came in that DO letter still exists with me. And when I read that reply, I felt not so pleasant. The reply was that second lieutenant, we used to get 1 star that time, that you are becoming an officer is just a successful completion of training and forget about it hereafter. And the second line, which was most important, which has an effect on me every day today. And he said that hereafter, you are embarking on a journey to become leader of men, leader of their families, okay, where they will not even blink, their minds will not even blink to obey your orders. Before you finish your command, their lives will be at stake. So you must understand, and this is the line. At that moment, at 20 years of age, I felt, come on, I was commissioned. I think that guy could have been a little more pleasant. Yes. But the moment I embarked in my unit, I think, there was a self-less sort of a devotion as a leader or whatever it is. When I came out and when I'm practicing as a mentor or coach today, then I'm hearing more leadership word. That time, of course, no one told me that you are training for leadership or not. It was just happening and happening and happening. But that feeling, I think, just makes you, and it is at all across levels. So it's a wonderful phenomena. It made me into a man, and which I can boast of today. So thank you, Meghavi, for allowing me to revisit at 19 years of age.
Yeah. Wonderful, sir. In fact, a lot of things that you have said, I'm sure for a lot of senior HR professionals here is going to be a huge takeaway as in how do they build their team and start acting before they expect things. So I think that was a huge input for all of us. Let's hear from Nandini now. How has been your experience, Nandini?
Thank you, Meghavi. I think Dimple and Jayan sir has already covered most of it. So I had to revisit again and again while they were talking what I need to share with you. I come from a background where I hadn't seen services at all. I'm a total civilian. And by the time I got the offer for the Navy, being an athlete, I'd given up my physical activity. So when I joined the services, the first show for me was a patti parade from all the officers. While my dad and my sister are standing with me, I'm seeing the patti parade happen. Patti parade is, they give 2 minutes or 3 minutes, depending on the kind of dress you're supposed to wear. You run back to your cabin, get ready and come back. I'm like, where have I landed? What is this happening? So that was my shocking moment at that point of time. Though it is volunteer, you don't know what you're getting into. So once I went there, I was overweight. And I'm telling you, by the end of that academy, I was a transformed person. I had completed my parade. I had done my training with 2 fractured ankles. So my mental state was what they built in me. Like today also, if you give me a job, you say, do it, whether it is HR job, if it is any other job, I will not say no. My mental ability is what I feel Navy has literally matured it into a way that I don't think I have that bigger attitude. And also to add on to Jayan sir's comment, having a course mates, I think that is the best part. They know everything about you, and also the events, every event that we meet after that, and we recapture academy days. I think that makes us relive those days day in and day out. I think we can never forget. So I think that was my experience.
Absolutely. In fact, all of my friends from forces, I've seen them. They still remember this guy was with me in this posting while training, while I was there, even while they were traveling. That they are still keeping in touch. So I think what you guys have shared, the way you have been uh, brought along during the training, I think that don't just doesn't just kind of transform you. It just transcends you, if that's the right word to use here. It just takes you to another level.
Rightly said, Megha.
Yeah. Uh, so after this, let's quickly go to the second question, and let's be a little fast here. I would want to know, what is it that still makes you a part of the forces? Like, where all three of you were answering, it didn't really look like you're talking about your last job or talking about the yesteryear career that you had. It looked like, okay, you're still a part of it and you're talking about it. So what is it that you think that it still makes you a part of the forces? And because we ended with Nandini, let's start with Nandini this time.
Okay. For me, when I joined the service, I didn't have time to look back. Once you enter the academy, you just go through the flow, the transition happens, your transformation happens. You are not meeting your friends. I was in an era, 97. That was the time when all my friends had gone abroad. So I didn't have all those equipment to touch base with them other than writing a letter, which I didn't have time for. So I didn't know how much I had transformed, what I had transformed into. So I only knew that I was in the Navy, I'm serving the Navy, I'm wearing a white uniform, I'm getting saluted at, I'm looking after my men, I'm going about my job. So I didn't realize how much of an impact the Navy had on me. Like when I joined the jobs, and one day I had to hand over my job to them because I was going on 2 weeks of chutti. I wrote a big mail saying, this job I do like this, like this, like this. And I wrote the entire thing, and it was a big mail. And I sent it. I didn't think it was anything great. So when I sent it, the person from the other side, he said, I wish everybody had given me a handing over like this. I said, what did I do different? He said, you were so good. I said, then I remembered. Navy had ingrained, every time you go, you do a handing over. Yeah. Every job is listed down and you write it, how it is done, whom is the contact person, what are the steps to be taken. All the jobs that you're doing, you write it down. So I realized after leaving service, after so many years, when I write a mail, that service is inside me. It cannot be taken. I'm carrying it along with me. So that is how I feel service is in us. That's how we connect. And we cannot forget, because the experience, what we are having, whether it is an Air Force or an Army, somewhere the binding is the same. The brotherhood is the same. The experience, each of us experience. Like in the outside world, what you do is you meet morning till evening, but in the academy, you're meeting entire day. Every event is known to everybody. You have a cold, you have a cough, everybody knows. So every accolade you get, every mistake you make, everybody knows, but you still learn to live with it and go beyond. And I feel that is where you accept yourself and you know you can move on after a mistake. So this is what I have learned. And this is why I feel Navy is always going to be with me, even though I don't realize it. That's my humble submission.
Very true. I think it's the way of life.
Not it's the way of life. Yes.
Life. Yeah, great. Let's hear from you, Dimple. What do you think?
So Meghavi, I'll say whatever, Nandini said, I completely agree with her. And I'll tell you one thing, once a Fauji is always a Fauji. So this is a statement, which is there in our blood. So maybe, Jen sir can also vouch for it. For me, I think what I carry from Defense Forces is the values, the discipline which I picked up from there, the ethics which I picked up from there, the foundation, strong foundation, which I picked up from there is always with me. So today also, whatever I'm doing at my workplace, I'm using the power of human connections, which I picked up from Defense Forces only. I became a leader at a very young age, and where I actually, came to know the meaning of servant leadership. So what we are talking today in the agile world, it's already there in defense forces, so many years back, 40, 50 years back. So one thing is this, and I think whatever we are thinking, whatever actions we are taking, whatever decisions we are making, they all are influenced by our experience of defense. Whatever the way of working, whatever we did in defense forces, we are following the same here. And also, I think luckily my husband is still serving in Air Force. So I'm also part of the AFA, Air Force Wife Welfare Association. So I always have that affiliation because still, I see him wearing uniform, and that's really I'm in touch with the defense forces. And still, if you ask me, my favorite song is the Air Force song, Desh Pukare Jab Sabko, Neeli Vardi Walo Ka Dal, Badhta Aage Seena Taan. So I think this is the Air Force or defense is in my blood, I would say. So you can't separate it.
Okay, so I have one question for you, Dimple, extended question. Do you miss being actively a part of Air Force when you see your husband dressing up and going to the job?
Okay, so I think, yes, I do miss my uniform, but that's the beauty of defense forces, that they make us so adaptable. We become so agile. Quickly we adopt to, other culture, and we embrace the other culture. So not much, because the way of working is same. Maybe only the weapons are changed. I'm no more, working with missiles, but I am working with my weapons are now, the power of human connection, or my writing skill through mails, or whatever I can do. But definitely, I think I do miss my uniform.
Okay, I love the answer that you gave, that your weapons have changed, but you haven't given up the fighting spirit. Great, I love that.
Thank you.
Coming to you, Jansa, can you quickly throw some light on?
Yeah, exactly. So I'll quickly say that, these young leaders have already spoken, of course, the format remains similar. The camaraderie which you develop, the togetherness, the culture in which we grow, that actually what I call, that at least I can vouch, that color of my blood is actually OG, olive green. Not red. Okay. So that's how it is. It is, I think I may forget my name, but my entire, people when talk about embodied structure, I'm actually embodied with that entire culture, work ethos. And the canvas of being in the defense forces is so huge. It is not related to 10 years service or 40 years of service. It almost in a short span, it just builds up. Secondly, that you work in so versatile environments. When we talk today of VUCA environment and this kind of a leadership, that I'm reading that now, of course. I personally feel that I think every kind of, situations one has gone through it. And I can say with the commitment.
Yeah.
So it is the platform on which, VUCA is the simplest of platform in which we have operated. We only train 1,000 and million times to encounter the next one. Okay. That is the option which we, and so that we are very comfortable. So that is the beauty that remains. And it always says, that there is nothing, I have at least realized, that there are nothing failures. People talk about death, but death is never talked, like that. It's only that you are living for life and live life on the edge. Whatever it is the way you want to do it. So point is that, you are living for that with the possibility or the winning, you can call it syndrome or phenomena or philosophy. And rest, everything is a part of process. Because that is how it is. Whether you are sweating, whether you are jumping, whether you have broken your leg, you are still moving. And whether it is strategic level or at the tactical level, it all happens. So it actually grows on you. And that, I think, puts you into a very, very holistic, comfortable person. And it is not that, a Fauji, like people generally ask me, sir, आप ब्रिगेडियर साहब थे और शॉर्ट चक्र है, पता नहीं आप गोरखा राइफल के थे, तो अभी कोचिंग में आ गए, तो आप तो पहले वहां पे ऑर्डर देते थे, आप कैसे अभी यार चुपचाप सुनते हो, आप लिसनिंग में. We are, I think, most emotional and sensitive, deep core in the heart. Okay, I do not think the sensitivity towards the life could be understood. What a soldier can understand that. And my senior always used to say, the same senior who had written me that reply, he told me one status, he said, अगर आप लोगों ने अपने जवान को लीड करना है, especially a Gorkha, he is supposed to be, कहते थे कि वो ना कहीं हंसता है, he is emotionless person, ना हंसेगा ना स्माइल करेगा. दिस इज एप्लीकेबल फॉर ऑल पहाड़ीज अदरवाइज. सो वो कोई एक्सप्रेशन नहीं होता. अगर वो गोरखा आपके बात पे कभी हंस दिया ना या रो दिया, ओह यू हैव अचीव्ड. एंड इसे कि अगर आपने कमांड करना है, यू मस्ट एग्जिस्ट इन द बेली ऑफ दैट सोल्जर, लिटरली. उसको नहीं पता हो कि मुझे भूख लगी है कि नहीं लगी है, यू मस्ट नो. उसके पेट में दर्द है कि ही विल नॉट नो और विल नॉट से, यू मस्ट अंडरस्टैंड दैट. सो यू सी, that is the sensitivity or emotionality with which, and of course when you have to be there, no one talks about it, you have to scale up. So that of course grows up onto our system. I think that is the thing which takes our lives ahead in whichever field it is. So that's what, Meghavi, I think. Yeah,
Wonderful. You forced me to pick up my pen and note down a few things that you said, sir. Okay. I'm just loving the conversation that's going on. Let's get to the third question. What has been your most remarkable experience you can quote of belonging to the forces? Now, when I say belonging, please read that in capitals. What has been your one experience that has been the most remarkable, that made you belong to the forces? Belong being into the capital. So let's start with Dimple now.
Okay, I think I would say, the beautiful career, the adventurous career I had with Indian Air Force for 11 years. Best part was that, I participated in both the wars, the Kargil and Operation Parakram, because I was part of Western Air Command, which was highly activated that time. And belonging, I will just give you one example. What happened? I was when Kargil was won, I had just completed my training and I was posted. I was a trainee officer there that time. So there also I really scaled up very well, because all the missiles were out. I was, commissioned as an engineer. So I was working into missiles, and my job was to convert the dead missile into live missile, and then, give them to the combat flight for firing. What happened? During the second war, when the Operation Parakram was on, so I was tech flight commander, and I took orders from my commanding officer. So the orders had come from air headquarters that so many missiles to be produced and so on. So I came back to my flight. Flight is the office, and then I told my team. So we have around 80 people in the team. So I told my warrant officer Sahab that please start the recall plan. So you have to activate the recall plan. That means you have to call back people. Okay. So Meghavi, those days, landline was not there. It was luxury. Mobile, so mobile to chhodi do, landline was also luxury. So my office was next to this warrant officer Sahab's office. So I could, overhear what he was talking. So he said, he called up one PCO. And PCO say he's calling up one of the couple. He said कि भाई आजा, समय आ गया है जिसके लिए हमने यूनिफॉर्म पहनी है, वो काम करने का समय आ गया है. My God, I had goosebumps. I said, my God, I don't have to motivate my people. They are so much motivated. I had that feeling of so much of proud that time, that just see, I am leading a team where everybody is fully motivated and inspired. You don't have to pump them up, And next, I don't know how he came. Next day, 11 o'clock, he was there and working in one of the team, preparing the missile. Wow. So this is the example of belongingness. Our families also. Now I am, not only about my own husband, I'm saying, I think a lot of the kind of sacrifices the families, make. So out of maybe so many Diwalis, Holis, festival or Karwa Chauth, it is, I think, maybe 50% time when the husband is around, and most of the time they are still in the station where they're posted. They are not all the time together. So even I'm staying alone here with my, with my children. So husband is posted somewhere else. So this is everybody's story. I think everyone's story, but we feel very proud that the counterpart is discharging the responsibility towards the nation. So it gives me a feeling of pride. So I think it is with everyone, maybe Nandini or Jain sir, his family must have given him a rock support. So this is the feeling of belongingness we all have towards defense forces, I would say.
True.
Thank you, Davi.
Literally gave goosebumps, huh, Dimple? Let's hear from you, Nandini. What has been your experience?
Okay. My experience of belongingness. So I belong to the Indian Navy. I would like to share how I felt I belong to the armed forces. Okay. So when you are in a secluded area, like I'm in the Navy and I'm working for the Navy. So that is the world I had seen. I had not interacted much with the other armed forces unless they came and stayed next in my cabin, next to my cabin or something like that, or they are my roommate. Like I had an army person who was my roommate. She was a gynecologist. So other than that, I didn't have any interaction with the outside units. So before I was quitting the Navy, what I did is I took my mother and my sister on a trip to Rajasthan and Gujarat. So I went alone, nobody else, and I planned my trip and no bookings anywhere. I'm so confident. I don't know how that confidence came. I told you, Navy gives you that mental capability to think you can do anything. I said, okay, we'll go wherever we go. If there is an army unit, we'll go and touch base there.
Yeah.
So we went touch base. I said the guard that I'm an officer, so and so, I want a cabin to stay for the day. I'm telling you, the kind of welcome that I got. Anywhere I ventured, they had a jeep ready for me to roam around the country, and the special attention that they gave. And in Punjab, when I met the people and I said, I want a glass of water. And they said, where are you come from? I said, I'm from the Indian Navy, armed forces. Okay, come in, have lassi and everything. So you can see, transcends. Navy is not anything. It was like armed forces. I belong to armed forces that day. So the whole trip, I cannot tell you how I felt. I said, surely I've done something great. That is the day I felt, being part of us.
True. It's about looking beyond just that little thing called Navy, but looking at the bigger family, the ultimate family that we all belong to.
Yes, that was my experience. I really felt I belong. And today, when you guys called me, I felt I belong. You know, it is still continuing. It is not ended. I still feel I belong, and I belong to the armed forces. Thank you.
Like what Dimple said, that you guys say, once a soldier, always a soldier.
Yes.
We civilians also copy that and we flaunt, once an engineer, always an engineer. But I understand what's the difference between saying once a soldier, always a soldier, and once an engineer, always an engineer. I can see and feel the difference today. Thanks for sharing all these things. I mean, I'm really getting goosebumps. So over to you. What has been your experience?
Yeah, Meghavi, keeping the time in mind, of course. One is that, for culminating, I made a few, slides also to culminate it. But before that, I'd just like to say that, yes, once a soldier is always soldier, or, war room scenario and boardrooms and all various things are there. And I can only say that recently when General Rawat, who passed away in December, RCDS, it came up to mind, a lot of, posts and all were there. I only said that, when a soldier dies, so-called, actually soldier doesn't die. So I had written a small article on that. I thought, that gives out that, the soldier or in the Galwan Valley, he is into that process. The soldier himself does not know that next moment he is so-called not going to be there. He is in the line of duty and he moves on. And that's why I said that, it is the death. So we keep toying up, playing up, enjoying. And the death comes to everyone. But death also feels that it will be a great honor for me as a death if I'm able to embrace a kind of a person like soldier. But soldier plays around with the death. And sometimes he closes on. Soldier does not know that he has died. He has just been into the performance of duty. That's the level of commitment and belongingness. So it is that, death gets immortalized. And that's why I say that it is momentary for even death, because then the Mother Earth embraces him. He said, okay, enough is enough. You come back too much. So people are blessed who have been able to, probably whose lives have been taken into the lap of motherland. And I feel great about it. I think this is at the cost of, boasting little bit maybe. I have also shed few drops of the blood. कहते हैं कि सींचा है थोड़ा सा, तो वो अच्छा फील होता है. Why not? And it is that one has been brave. So in that manner, तो हम कहते हैं कि हमने भी एक बूंद इस धरती माँ पे रखा है. Of course, वो लोग शायद ज्यादा खुशनसीब है जिनको शहादत मिली. And second thing is that it is a way of life with us.
I'll cut you here, Brigadier. I'm so sorry for doing that. I am aware of your story when you say that you have also shed blood for the country. And I would really, really request both HR Milestone and BMA if we can have you again to share the entire story. I mean, it just doesn't give you goosebumps, but it gives you an experience that you start valuing, not just you, yourself, your life, but the kind of gratitude and the kind of feelings that you will develop for these people who have been saving our lives. Amazing. Please.
You want me to tell? Anyway, I'll just give it on short. I was in the rank of major, I think at the age of 35 years, posted in Jammu Kashmir in Kupwara district. And I was naturally, we used to keep having that area is quite a hot area, even I think today. So we kept having various, missions, jungle, mountains. And in one of those missions, we got the input and we had an operation launched. And after carrying out a search of suspected place, we didn't find anything. Then we again ventured, we fired, and nothing was seen. And but suddenly when we had culminated our operation thinking that probably it is one of those things, because on top of mountain, in the jungle, when you are standing, you really can't make out which point is where. It's not so easy. And you have to be absolute. If you're moving, you are at danger. And if someone is sitting, he is actually watching you. So there are a lot of thoughts go on, and you as a leader, you have to control your team. Everyone is there. Even, you even look at the leaves which have fallen on the ground. कि उसमें कोई turn तो नहीं हुआ है. इसका मतलब कोई आया है. You also smell. यार कोई smelling तो नहीं आती. So there are a whole lot of issues. It's an art, of course. It's not so simple. Anyway, we got into an encounter. Probably the militants were there. They were a foreign mercenary group. They got surprised. We came almost face to face. And first level of encounter, then there was a lull. A छोटा सा encounter होता है, then maybe one or two bursts and then quiet. That's what it is. Not a big sort of a thing. And then quiet. और आप लोग क्या होता है, हम लोग फिर search करते हैं उसको. In the process of search, I came, because I was the leader, I could have left it. We had got a lot of booties there. But 3-4 militant की death हो गई थी वहां पे, तब तक उनको मार दिया था. And nothing was found. One option was to leave it and culminate it with a lot of booties which were there. Unke 12 rucksacks the bade. But I decided to continue searching. And during that search process, I came face to face with militants, literally face to face. And when I saw their militants, they were actually firing at me like this. And I was at a little higher ground and I saw them firing and I jumped all in action. I remember very clearly they had fired. And हम लोग के होते रहते थे encounter, and you as a youngster you felt always brave, invincible. ये feeling set in हो जाती है कि यार कुछ नहीं होता है. Anyway, that is how the incident was, and I jumped and I knew that today I'm shot because it was very close range. And I fell behind a tree, and two militants were there, they're face to face almost, but fortunately there was a tree between us. And when we kept firing at each other, when I fell down, I realized कि आज तो गोली लगी होगी पक्का. जब मैं उठा तो मैंने literally सांस लेके, I felt it कि भाई जिंदा हो ना अभी आप. तो I was breathing properly. So I said कि चलो आज का it is again one of those days type. So that sort of feeling actually remains. And then it happened that I finished my magazine which I was firing, and I wanted to change over that magazine which I was kept in a pouch here onto the left chest. So when I put here, because you can't leave a sight, you have to keep looking and then take it out. And I suddenly realized the entire thing was wet here, and my magazine had bursted. Actually, the burst of the bullet had hit the magazine here. And I think that magazine had got busted, and those rounds had got fired. So that's what it is. That's why people say the fortune favors the brave. But sometimes some elderly guy, oldies like to me, also say कि भाई fortune favors the brave होता है. But there is a very thin line between bravado and foolhardiness. Now it is up to you to decide. Okay, take a call. So ऐसा होता है. But मेरा point क्या है कि when we talk about so-called mindfulness today, and I do a lot of work today, mindfulness, and I always say कि the moment when you are in that operation as a leader, इतनी versatility होनी चाहिए, इतनी ambiguity है, vulnerability है. In that state, you have to be the highest degree of mindfulness at that moment. Otherwise, you cannot. And I always say that whether it is sages or anyone, I would love to take that credit as a soldier when you are into that moment. It is that moment which is very, very, and no one can, not even your wife can figure into your thoughts that moment. Because it's not fatal to you, it is fatal for your command. People are there and you are moving with your action. So to cut the story short, I think this was the Operation Meghavi, and there are a lot of learning. And
I would request everybody, please let's come on the video and clap for the wonderful experience that Brigadier Sir has shared. Please let's get on the video and clap for him.
It is my duty, and the army made me like that. Otherwise, I was a very simple boy. And it transforms. सब लोग transform हो जाते हैं यार वो रात में. मैंने बोला ना overnight, सब transform हो जाते हैं. Meghavi, I'll take quickly. I'll just share that little because as I discussed, so there may be little. I'll go out quickly. So I'll just. Can you give me that sharing?
Yeah. Can we have
screen share?
Yes, it's given to you, Brigadier.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
And thank you everybody for coming on camera and clapping. I mean.
Okay, I'll just go over it quickly because there is something into it. Just a minute. Okay, so this is what they'll say, and what I said that journey of a soldier, as we discussed, it is the thinking which has created, and it is a meaning, and we transform accordingly. We keep overnight lightning shift. We become a gentleman cadet, and I start feeling कि मैं कर सकता हूँ यार, करना पड़ेगा. And it is that teamness which prevails to me. जब साथ में होते हैं ना हम लोग, what I stated, that's how we actually move. And then it gets transformed. Suffering gets transformed to challenge. Suffering ceases to exist. It is only the challenge. And it is you start developing. It is that within 1 or 2 days, 24 to 48 hours, you develop this spirit. And you realize that there is unlimited, unfathomable power. And then what happens that your responsibility becomes your right of action. ये responsibility आपका अधिकार बन जाता है कि मुझे ये करना है. That's a little difference. When I was a young man, I used to be thinking about my surroundings. छोटा मोटा कि मेरा ये काम है वो करना है. Probably you grow up, अपनी need की जो जरूरतें हैं वो शायद कम हो जाती हैं. You start feeling for certain larger perspective for your team, platoon, self-image, like that. And then the leader emerges. At one stroke on commissioning, I explained that as to how my senior told me. So you can get used to anything, and human body is tougher than what you think. It is unbelievable. When we do commandos, you can't imagine what happens. This is a picture of a commandos training after the normal initial training. And here the control gets embodied. It is a 9-inch plank at 60 feet. We call it a commando jump, where you have to walk up, down and all, and whole lot of sides, instructors are sitting, keep watching you. Even if you shake like this, they turn you to ask you to turn back from there, and you are made to fail. So, so what happens? On ground, you can walk 9 inches. There's no great difficulty. But what happens that you have to just keep yourself controlled. Your body has to be in control. And, when there is nothing known as suffering or vulnerability, it is, of course, to think. When you give it a meaning, हमारी रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में ये होता है. जो कभी तकलीफें आती हैं, अगर उसको मीनिंग से अटैच्ड है, it becomes simpler. You find an answer to it. Well, this is a cheerful meeting. You can see the blissfulness or happiness on the two faces. He is my younger brother, okay? He was also posted in the same area.
Okay.
He was on leave. He was returning from leave. He did not know that elder brother is hospitalized. And the convoy stopped and someone went and called him and he was surprised that what are you doing in hospital? So I'm in a left hand bandage and we are still laughing to glory and we are enjoying that. We are tossing with the enjoyment. And the magic, what we said, it is the culture basically. Collective wisdom and not the immediate gains. It is the care, compassion with a stronger hand. प्यार होता है लेकिन जैसे माँ बाप करते हैं हमारे घरों में, सिर्फ कोई बड़ा कुछ ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन नहीं है. It is leading by example. Discipline, yes, it is beyond you. So it is from a daily life scenario that every concept is boiled down. You are working on the excellence mindset. Possibility is the only challenge becomes a part of your process. Simple. और ये कोई बड़े words नहीं. I always tell people ये हमारी रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी की ही बातें हैं. We may be in any domain of life. It is, we have to just apply. Just keep your mind quiet and apply it. Happiness quotient becomes the way of life. And of course, we work on Naam, Namak, Nishan, which everyone, if you are in a one organization, you live that I am working here, I am working like this, and I must work. So this is where it is. And if you have why to live, there's no question, and it is that what life expects from us. It is not expectation from the life. So there is something which I thought that I will put it across and And this is the motto on which we actually got commissioned as an officer, where the country's safety honor comes first always. ये हमारे जहन में ingrain हो जाता है. Country comes first. The men you command